Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a New York Jets 2023 NFL mock draft. I'm going to go do two different versions of this. We got some rumors I saw that the Jets will be possibly sticking with Zach Wilson. It doesn't surprise me. Their front office is not going to want to admit Zach Wilson is a total bust after they invested a number 2 overall pick into him just 2 years ago. So they might go with a veteran quarterback and really try and, keep Zach Wilson and see if he can learn under a veteran. But with the first version, the first mock I'm doing, we are going to trade up to number 1 and try and get Bryce Young. And then with the second one, it'll just be a best player available. Maybe we go with Peter Soronsky or Paris Johnson Jr. at 13, depending on who is available. So, going from 13 to 1, if the Jets really fell in love with Bryce Young, it's a brutal trade to make. It's a steep hill to climb. You would have to give up 13. You would have to give up a first rounder in 2024. You'd also have to give up a second rounder. You'd have to probably give up a first rounder in 2025. That's 3 first round picks. I would really love to keep 43. I wonder if we give up 43 and do that, if they would accept it. So 13, 43, a first and a second rounder in 2024. If I was the Jets, I would probably want to do a first and a second rounder in 2025 just because, if you get Bryce Young, that team's probably going to be real good in 2025 because Bryce Young will be a sophomore quarterback, but I don't think they would do it. So this is the trade we will offer, and it does get accepted. So the New York Jets move up to number 1 overall. They trade 13, 43, a first and a second. And honestly, I'm guessing they would probably have to give up another second round pick in real life to make this trade happen. Just my opinion on that. But with the number 1 overall pick, we will be taking Bryce Young. You get Bryce Young, you pair him with the receiving core. You got Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis. It is impressive. And then you could theoretically trade Zach Wilson for a second round pick next year or maybe a third rounder. I'm not too sure on his overall value, but you can see they need a linebacker. They need a tackle. Looking at either of those positions, really not much is available. I do like Stevenson, the cornerback. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we're going to have to draft Blake Freeland here from BYU. He's kind of like the last decent enough tackle available that's not a total project that the Jets would be forced to take in that scenario. Also, you have, I'm actually not even sure if Joshua Gray, he might be returning to Oregon State. I don't know exactly. They also need a linebacker. There's really no great linebacker available at this point. I'll probably just go best player available. Not a fan of taking a running back. The center from Wisconsin, I've heard good things about. Zach Pickens is real interesting, the former 5-star. They do have Quentin Williams. We'll go with the center from Wisconsin. We'll get them some more interior offensive line help. And we will see if we can draft a linebacker here at 145. And we will go with the linebacker from Auburn. That's another former 5-star. We'll go ahead and take him, just going with positions of need. If they do draft Bryce Young, they're basically giving up all of their picks or, that very valuable second-round pick. Just looking at other players on here. The tight end from Miami I do like. Kenny McIntosh I love. We'll go ahead and, with a pick like this, you're just looking for kind of an interesting, hybrid guy maybe. We'll go ahead and take an edge rusher from Florida A&M. And then at 185, we will take, it just doesn't make sense, Kenny McIntosh. They've got Breece Hall. I think they have 2 different running backs there. So, Michael Carter's more of a third down back, I guess. We'll go with another linebacker there to get them some more linebacker help. But overall, with this mock draft, you can see it's heavily based around, drafting Bryce Young at number 1 overall. That is not the current rumor. It's very unlikely that is going to happen. They would have to give up a lot. This is probably a bit unrealistic in terms of what the Jets would seriously have to give up for Bryce Young to move from 13 to number 1 overall. And that mock, you can see right there, we're getting them offensive line help. We're getting them a few linebackers and a pass rusher. the Jets, they really don't need a receiver with with the investment they made into Garrett Wilson. They don't need a running back. I loved the Bryce Hall pick. But now we're just going to go back into this, and we will do what their current strategy is, which is just to not trade up and see both of the offensive tackles get picked. So this would not be a good scenario at all if you are the Jets. At this point, you're looking at a possible trade down to 24, which is something that would intrigue me. Could I also get a second rounder? Boy, that'd be probably a pretty good trade. Trading from 13 to 24, we also get a 2024 second rounder. All right, we're going to do that. Hopefully one of the offensive tackles is left. And both of the how many offensive tackles are going to get picked? That's 4 offensive tackles in the first 23 picks. It doesn't make any sense at all. It just doesn't make sense. But I will say, you know what, man? It is so hard not to go with a receiver. Oh, it's so hard. Imagine they got JSN or Jordan. The thing is, I think Jordan Addison is very similar of a receiver to Garrett Wilson. I might have to go with JSN here. It's just such great value. Joey Porter Jr., opposite Sauce Gardner. That's intriguing. There's just no real Dalton Kincaid. Oh, wait, do they have who's their tight end? The Jets. I might go with Dalton Kincaid here. Their tight end, they do have Jeremy Ruckert. We'll go with JSN. It's not a need, but it's a spot where if he falls that far, I do have to pick him. Give me a good offensive lineman. All of these. Dude, how many tackles are going to get picked within the first 42 picks? I love Emmanuel Forbes. The thing is, I'm really not getting Drew Sanders. All right, we'll go Drew Sanders there. Maybe Emmanuel Forbes will be available. He gets picked. This thing is so dumb. The center from Minnesota, Keon White. Keon White is someone I really like. I really like Keon White. We'll go with Keon White. Get them he might go in the first round, legitimately. He's really that good. And then we'll go with Blake Freeland. This thing just completely, they decided to take 40 offensive tackles in the first 50 picks. It doesn't make sense. I've never seen them really do that. Cam Jones is a tackling machine. They need more linebackers. How about that? Drew Sanders and Cam Jones. And again, this is if they decide to pass on a quarterback. I wonder what QBs are available. Oh, they've all been picked. I don't want Aiden O'Connell. We will go with Yasir Abdullah. I'm a big fan of Yasir Abdullah. He's very kind of in the mold of Hassan Reddick. He's very similar to Hassan Reddick. And I do like Josh Wiley as well. Josh Wiley is a guy they should look at if he's available there. And then with 185, we will go with some offensive line help. So this one, guys, you look at this mock draft and what the AI did, it just, it's very rare do they take that many offensive tackles that early. The reason I had to take JSN was because it was such a good value pick that late into the first round. But I would probably say if they do take JSN, Corey Davis does not have a good contract, so I don't even know if Corey Davis is tradable. But you're probably looking at moving or trading Elijah Moore. So this is if they decide to go with a veteran quarterback and they keep Zach Wilson. Maybe they try and get Derek Carr or something like that. They go with JSN. Now they have JSN and Garrett Wilson. They get, Drew Sanders, number one need linebacker. Keon White is a really, really unique pass rusher who will probably end up being a top 40 pick. Blake Freeland, I had to pick him. Cam Jones, they get a tackling machine. But you look at this mock draft, and this is very rare to see Saransky go at number 10. Normally, it's only one of these guys that gets picked in the top 10 or 11, and they all ended up getting picked. And then also you have Harrison, the tackle from Oklahoma, and you've also got Jones from Georgia. I don't understand. 4 offensive tackles in the first 23. It is very rare in that sense. So that is just 2 different mock drafts for the Jets. If I was the Jets, I just think you're too far away from trading for Bryce Young and mortgaging basically everything. Trading from 13 to 1 is miserable. It's almost impossible. So, but again, quarterback is the most important position. Maybe you're obsessed with CJ Stroud and you only have to go from 13 to 3. That's a little bit more doable. You know, maybe you like both Bryce Young and CJ Stroud and maybe also Will Levis, so you could go from 13 to 5 and trade with Seattle. Or does Seattle have the 5th pick? Or yeah, Seattle does have the 5th pick and Detroit has the 6th pick. So there's a lot the Jets can do. You know, I would definitely try and get my franchise quarterback ASAP, no matter what you have to give up. This whole idea of bringing in a bridge QB and keeping the hope in Zach Wilson, I think it's a sunken cost at this point. But it is what it is. They don't want to give up on their number 2 overall pick. That would be a tough pill for their front office to swallow. So, guys, that's going to do it for this mock draft.